Alright everyone, this is Ash. Welcome back to the King's Speech. So we're going to get caught up on some more videos this weekend, but before we dive into that, just a few little minor channel updates things. So after this weekend, I will probably take a brief hiatus until at least the end of April, start of May. So which will be about, so probably be until the weekend of May 4th. I'll probably come back to doing videos and stuff again, just because it is getting into busy season with work for me. It's just going to be very kind of tiring and draining dealing with all of that, trying to record and all that kind of stuff. So I'll probably just take a brief break so I can recharge, so I don't burn myself out, and then come back with a vengeance again to make content in May sometime. But yeah, just want to let you all know I will try my best, at least during the hiatus, to at least keep up with the Shonen Jump chapters, just so those don't fall behind too badly. But depending on how many come out, I might take a break from those as well. But read-throughs definitely will probably be on break after this weekend. But yeah, just want to let you all know. With that said, we're getting caught up with Akane-Banashi this weekend, as well as a new read-through for Black Hammer. So some good stuff to look forward to. So if you haven't already, please do like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Managed to finally get a couple of new subscribers in the last little while. So really do appreciate that. So if you haven't already, please do like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, because it really does help me out a lot. It does really mean a lot to me with the channel. Like I mentioned, just makes these couple of months go by a little bit easier. So if you'd like to do that, show your appreciation, I would really, really love that. But without further ado, let's get into it with Akane-Banashi Story 101 exactly. With Rakugo supervision by Keiki Hayashiya, story by Yuki Suenaga, art by Taka Masamoe, with translation by Stephen Paul and lettering by Sneeron. So we pick up where we left off last time with the Tanuki turned back into dice with, "Good, you're finally a die again. Just had to go and make a spectacle of yourself, huh? Listen up, this is the real deal now. You're gonna put out the number I tell you, and don't screw it up." And you see her just imagine like, "1!" He's like, "Boom!" As she like uncovers the little like dice rolling cup. It's like, "Yes, sir!" It's like, "Good." It's like, "Alright folks, sorry for the wait. I've gone and tracked down that pesky little die. Let's get back to the game." And you see everyone just getting glaring daggers at her. It's like, "Huh? What's wrong?" "What's wrong? What ain't wrong here? You keep dragging out these weird sketchy items." It's like, "You wouldn't be trying to rig this little game, would ya?" He's like, "Eep!" It's like, "Oh, what do you mean?" It's like, just tries to do like Warren's most unconvincing face, like, "There's nothing up my sleeve, no trickery afoot." It's like, shake, shake. It's like, "That's exactly what someone up to no good would say." And you have, "I'm free to do whatever I want, and the audience will keep up with me. This is great, it's so much fun." God, and you see... Okay, yeah, that's what I was imagining. So you see the next page is like Akane as a little kid being like, "I can keep going, I want to keep playing." She's playing with like a little Jenga tower, and like trying to take off pieces. And you see at the backstage entrance you have, "We've got a minute and a half left." It's like, if she expands the story any further, it's going to delay our schedule. And you have, "What should I do next?" as Choso, just like with his dice, is like, "Little miss." It's like, how shall I stack it higher? I can keep on expanding this. More, more. Oh, Christ. And you see a little achoo from the audience that kind of snaps Akane out of her reverie with that voice. And she imagines herself as a little kid like playing with the Jenga tower, as her father just like beatingly kind of smiling next to her, like puts his hand on her shoulder. She's like, "Oh, right. I'm here because..." She thinks back to Asagao telling her, "I'm asking because I want you for it. Simple as that." And you see as Akane goes back to the performance, she imagines putting the dice back in the cup with a, "If you're that paranoid about it, there, I won't touch the cup. Now I can't do anything to tinker with the roll. Agreed? We'll play a round of Choboichi. Just guess the number on the die under that cup. Go on, place your bets." And Asagao's like, "Aha, she's got the story back on track." You have in the audience, you have her mother just getting a little jab to, Father God, I need to pull up, I keep forgetting the characters and I don't know why. Sorry, give me a second here. Shinta, wasn't it? Give me a second, where are you? Yeah, Shinta. She kind of nudges Shinta on the ribs and he's like, "Ouch! That's what you get for walking outside in the cold." He's like, "Sorry, my fault." He thinks back to Baby Akane looks like standing outside her door watching her practice her Rakugo. With "What are you talking about, you bump on a log? Yeah, that's more like it. You think so too, Gonzo?" And he's thinking she's keeping herself busy. I'm sure that whether that whole incident had happened or not, Akane would still have turned out to be a Rakugoka. But without meaning to, as he later that day with the "I'm home," he's like "Jugumu Jugumu Goku no Suriku Rezu." As you're muttering, he's like peeks into the door, he's like "Akane?" He's like "Pon Poki Pi Pon Paku no Jugumu Jugumu." He's like, "I've added a new burden to her trip down that path." And you see her just like standing in front of the mirror, like seated in front of the mirror as she's practicing all her lines. It's like, "When I already knew best what kind of suffering would be involved. It's not an easy path by any means, and I know it's not my place to speak for her. But still, just how it was for me back then, I hope that Akane is able to have more." It's like, "Okay, 1, 2, or 1, 3, 4, 6, 2, you've all placed your bets." It's like, "Now if I just get that little Taniki to make a 5, I win." It's like, "Alright, here it goes with, like, not so fast. I don't trust you, don't say anything." It's like, "Huh?" It's like, "Don't huh me. If you're not up to any funny business, then you can do that." It's like, "Yeah, yeah." It's like, "Okay, time to open the cup." It's like, wait. Just a second. I can at least pray to God first, though, right?" And she thinks back to when the Taniki telling her, is like, the plum flower crest of the temple to the god something in the mountains? I'm just thinking back like when the flower petal like resembles the number 5 on the die. Like, "Just a second, I can at least pray to God first, right? Can't I?" It's like, "Oh, well, I suppose so." It's like, "Oh, Tenjin, god of the plum flower crest, do you hear me? My favorite god of all, Tenjin. The only thing I want to see is Tenjin." And you see, as she opened the cup, it's like, "But when the cup came off the ground, what they found was a little Tanuki dressed up like the god Tenjin. That was the story of Tanuki Dice." It's like she ended right on time. It's like, "Ha ha 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 ha." And you have the audience, like our father's just like wiping away tears, like, "Hey, what's the matter? That story was nothing but fun from start to finish." And he's like, "Exactly." So yeah. Again, like, I was hoping this chapter wasn't gonna kind of do, because, okay, on the one hand, let me try to gather my thoughts. Sorry, like, let me gather my thoughts, I guess. So on the one hand, Christ, no, sorry, losing my train of thought here. Yes, on the one hand, like, this is a good story in the regard that, you kind of see the relationship, like how powerful the relationship between Akane and her father is. Now I don't remember what it was. I'll get back to that. But you see how powerful the relationship between Akane and her father is. Like how close they are, like how well they understand like each other's like mannerisms and things like that. And you can kind of see like Shinta's little regret about like, kind of having like, placed like given a kind of like the baggage that goes along baggage. It's kind of holding on to her throat Rakugo, like, with all the performance and stuff, with his expulsion and everything. So those aspects were good. But on the other hand, again, I feel like the issue, again, I brought this up last time, is that Akane not having, again, really faced a failure and kind of getting by these scrapes at the last minute through, like, luck or things, it kind of really does dampen a lot of the tension, knowing that, Akane doesn't really face any kind of, like, significant consequence or setback in her professional progression going forward. And, like I'm very mixed on it, because on the one hand, like, the simple thing of like her father just sneezing, which which he knew was be like, because like the audience is like really into her, really immersed into her storytelling, and like the laughter and everything kind of keeps Akane going, because like that's adding more fuel to the fire. So to kind of put a stop to that and throw a wet blanket over it, literally throw a wet blanket over it, you're gonna have to kind of do something that kind of goes against the grain, that's kind of outside the norm. So on the one hand, I appreciate it because Akane is like so attuned to the audience and the performance and everything. The fact that Shinta knew, like, doing something simple like just a sneeze would be enough to get her out of that reverie, because that's just how, like, in the moment she is. So I like that touch of, like, oh, her father doing that to kind of tell her, like, you need to hurry it up along, think about what you're doing, what your goal is, everything like that. I like that aspect. But again, it feels like it just gets Akane get away with it without having to face, like, face some kind of consequence or some kind of setback with her having gone over the time limit, which I think would have been narratively more interesting if she had kind of gone over the limit. They had to have done something else to kind of get her out of it. So yeah, I think that's the biggest setback with this chapter with regards to that. Other thing I was going to say before I forget was, sorry, at the beginning I was saying, like, I didn't want to judge this yet because the arc isn't over, so still lots of chances for an upset to happen, like things to change and develop, stuff like that. But I don't feel like it's really going to have any significant impact on Akane with regards to her performance specifically. So yeah, a little bit of a disappointment with that, though we kind of just got that again, but I can't be too mad about it. But it definitely did take the wind out of the sails a little bit for me in that performance. Again, I'm going to have to kind of, I think, read this arc all in one go to kind of see like how all the stuff like Shinta crying and everything kind of matches up. Because again, to me, going through this chapter, I'm like, the emotional beats in that regard just aren't hitting me as hard as they should have or I think they're supposed to. So we'll see if a full reread kind of changes my mind on that. But yeah, still a good chapter, still enjoyed it, but still got some minor quibbles with the storytelling. So like I mentioned at the beginning, if you do like this content, please do like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Like I mentioned, these couple of months tend to be the darkest on me mental health-wise. So any kind of support, show of support is really, really greatly appreciated. It really does mean a lot to me. So if you'd like to do any of that, if you really do enjoy my videos, letting me know that. I really would appreciate that. Apart from that, like I said, I'll probably be on hiatus for the next month. So until next time, this is Ash. I'll see you all later.